Today, I'm going to share a story about the time that I manifested 2 holidays for myself. And this was, I remember it was like the fall of like near the end of a year. And I was, playing with the thought of, oh, you know what? I haven't really tried to manifest anything recently. I haven't consciously been doing that. I've been just busy with life and doing whatever was in front of me. And I remember, like, you know what? In order to manifest exciting things, you got to keep asking for things. You got to keep dreaming about them. Letting your mind wander into the places that you'd like to go. And so at that point, I decided to focus on manifesting a trip. And normally, that would feel pretty straightforward. But for whatever reason, on this occasion, one trip just didn't feel like enough because I had these two, what felt like opposing desires. It was winter or fall winter, and one country I wanted to go to was in the northern hemisphere. So, it would still be fall winter there. And so part of me wanted to go to somewhere hot and tropical, right? But yet, if I went to somewhere hot and tropical, I wouldn't get to see the people that I wanted to in the other country, right? So I found myself like going, what do I do, right? And, momentarily I was trying to make myself choose. But then I quickly realized that I was getting myself out of a manifestation energy. Because soon as we stress about something, soon as we have to decide something, our mind gets involved and we can come up with a whole host of reasons of why it's not right, right? We can start second guessing ourselves and judging our desire. And so I realized that, and I thought, okay, fine. I've got to let me be really truthful here. What would really feel fun, and where I could just feel light about it instead of making it such a stress? Because for goodness sake, it was supposed to be fun. It was a holiday, right, that I'm looking at. And so what I realized after a short time was, you know what? I want both. I really want both. I want to go to, it was going to Europe and see people I love and, visit. And I also go to a tropical climate, somewhere where I can enjoy the sun during the winter and feel refreshed and nourished in that way. And I realized I wanted both. And so it was just like I accepted it. I did that little process and realized where I was struggling. And then I went to where there was actually a lot of ease and where I just felt more relaxed, more like, yeah, that feels right. And that's all I did. Okay, I wasn't about to go and try and make this happen. It didn't feel like that's what it was about because, again, sometimes that energy can work, like where you're actually desiring, like you can get prompted to take an action. But in this case, it was just like it just calmed me down. Like it just felt like, oh, I could have these two experiences and that would be so fulfilling. And I was just happy with that. And I think part of it was I know I was kind of efforting in a couple of other areas of life, including business at the time. And so I didn't want to add any more of that. I didn't want to accumulate this energy of stress. I just wanted to enjoy something in my imagination. And as I said, embody it in terms of that I just felt relaxed in it and just made me feel happy. And I didn't have a tight timeline, like it has to happen. Again, that felt like that would be adding too much, kind of forcing energy. But I did desire them soon. I knew that because I was thinking in terms of, for example, I could have said I'm going to go to Europe next summer, and that would have had me wait several months. But I was thinking, oh, it's going to be fall, winter there. This is why I also want that tropical holiday. And so obviously my mind just naturally went there. And that's important. When you just naturally gravitate to something, it wasn't like I was, again, trying to create a particular formula or change my mind. I was just really accepting and receiving what it is that was calling to me. And so anyways, I just felt good. I just felt so good. It was almost like coming to a decision inside myself. It was like, yeah, yeah, those 2 trips. That's what feels good. And as I said, I let it be. Well, I got a was it an email? I think I got an email from a friend. I think that's how it was sent to me. And this friend happens to work for the airlines, and he just said, "Look, I would like to gift you this opportunity for a flight. All you have to do is pay for the tax portion, not the actual ticket of the flight." And I think the only other condition was that it was standby. So in other words, it meant that I may get on the flight, or I'd have to show up at the airport, and maybe you have to go back home and then try again, like if I didn't get a seat that day. So my time was flexible, so that was fine. But I was just like, I was stunned. I mean, that's quite a gift, and a lovely gift, and honored, obviously, that my friend thought of me. Now, this friend wasn't somebody that like I actually saw very often. That was the other very surprising part of it. I I didn't speak to him during this time that I was imagining these trips. I don't think I'd even seen him recently, and somehow this is what he wanted to give me. So that's how I made it to Europe. I took that flight, and I think on the way there it's actually all fine. I didn't have to do any standby or anything. Got my seat, and it was absolutely fabulous. Saw some family, saw some friends, and spent time traveling. And then on the way back, I did have to do a standby, I think. So that was, again, no big deal, because honestly, here I was getting a ticket for like less than $200 to fly, hours, like an 8-hour flight. And so that was trip 1, and totally thrilled. Did it in the winter, and fully enjoyed it. Felt really grateful, felt really lucky. And then I got a call from a family member, and this family member had won a trip, and so was going to go with his business partner, but the business partner was just really busy with business, and so my family member chose not to go either, and decided to both of them decided to give it to somebody in their family. And so I ended up going with a friend of the family, and this trip was to Mexico. And so there I got to go to a tropical place, and it was also during winter, so of course that made me super happy because I got to be in the sunshine and enjoy some heat during that time. And both of these trips happened within, now I'd have to check the actual dates because I don't remember right now, but I think they happened within a 3-month period. So here I was, just staying true to my actual desire, not feeling any stress about it, not feeling any like I have to or it has to happen. Because, if it didn't happen, I would find other things to do, or I would probably end up in a situation where at some point I'd be like, okay, let me just, buy a plane ticket and go on a trip eventually. But I decided to play with it. That was the intention from the beginning, that I wanted to play with manifestation, activate it, do it consciously, because we're always manifesting, by the way. We're always manifesting, but because we tend to think the same thoughts and focus on the same things, we really are just repeating, daily life most of the time. So that's why it's a really great exercise to just kind of go into that play mode every once in a while, and ask for something different, ask for something that just lights you up. I can provide many more examples, but I just want to focus on this one today. And it was really special. It was, and again, it allowed me to receive from 2 people in my life, and I had no idea, like that trip that the family member won, like that was a first for them. So to be given it was a total treat. And then, as I said, the friend was someone that I hadn't expect to hear from, certainly not for something like that. And it ended up just being great. So, what are some of the things that might have had this manifestation happen? I think part of it was just that I went into the energy of play. So let me play with this. Let me ask for something that I'm actually not focused on right now. Because the more detached we are, the easier the thing can come. Because there's no energy like pushing and pulling, right? So we're just chill, like we're open. And when we're open, we're actually more connected to higher energy. And in the quantum is where everything exists already, right? So when we're open, we're just like, we're in touch with it already. When we are attached and we really like need something to happen or have to prove it, like if I was in that state of, oh, I have to prove that this stuff works, it's like just having this tension. And that tension usually has us get in our own way, and things sometimes end up being much harder than they could have been. So that relaxed state, that play state, and the other part of it was that I really went to be true to myself. If I hadn't been true to myself, I would have been compromising and saying, okay, fine, for me to even expect I could get 2 trips out of the blue without having to pay for them directly. Like that, my mind would have just went like, are you nuts? Are you crazy? Where is this going to come from? Like, I could not have imagined either of those experiences manifesting in my life. So I was, I was just detached from how it was going to happen. I wasn't invested in it. It was like, oh, wouldn't it be lovely to have that? And that's actually one of the most powerful energies is, wouldn't it be lovely to have that? Because we are light, we are detached in that energy. We're not in our thoughts and our mind. We're not in the subconscious that has, previous feelings and assumptions about what is possible for us. And now the one thing that was different, which I think a lot of videos will talk about, is feelings, that you have to be in a really elevated state of feeling. Now, I have manifested big things through that state alone. But in this case, I didn't have any feeling about it, actually. I mean, the initial thought, oh, wouldn't it be great to go on a holiday? Like, that felt nice, right? But it was almost like my mind was clear and just kind of like empty in a way. Like I wasn't flooded with thoughts. My heart wasn't flooded with emotions. There was detachment, and it was more the idea of will. Like, my will is aligned with this. Yes, I'm available to take 2 holidays in the next couple of months. Like as I said, I felt it. I didn't have any deadlines, but I felt like it would be in that period of time that would be especially lovely for me. Right? Like I wanted to go on a holiday soon rather than later. And so that will, and again, you may find that there's certain things that are more likely to work for you. And for me, will has been one of them. When I'm not in the elevated emotion, then I can sometimes enter that state of will. Like, yes, this is what I'm willing to happen. And that, think about the word willing. I will it. I'm willing. There's a willingness. Willingness is open. It's receptive, right? There's no blocks or resistance. I'm just open. And there's nothing between me and those holidays happening. There was just no energy in between them, because it was so clear and true, and I had found that answer. If I'd stayed, as I said, in that, it can only be 1 trip, I better choose, there would have been that tension in between, and who knows, right, what would have happened. But in this case, relaxed, clear, aligned, my will was like, true, this is true for me, and open open and receiving. So I hope that's encouraged you to play with manifestation more, because the more you play with it, you just don't need everything anymore. And then sometimes you get an abundance of things, and then you're just so fulfilled that it makes it even easier to play more, right? Because think about it, successful people, when we, like, if we're rich and wealthy, we have that sense of abundance. It's very natural. And so to ask for something new is very common. It's not unusual. It's not out of the ordinary. You begin to live your life this way. And there's a natural expectation. And we can often let go of time when we're in that kind of energy, because there's always something wonderful happening, right? Moving into that, there's always something wonderful happening, right? That time it was a trip. So another time it might be something completely different that feels like a perfect thing. And then there's that willingness to allow timing to do its thing, because we know we'll be fulfilled. We know that something that we're calling for is coming. When it comes, how it comes, we don't always have to worry about that. We can just let it be and trust that things will come in sometimes a perfect timing, so that other things that are meant to happen along the way can, because of that particular timing. So when I work with people, I don't always talk about manifestation in any kind of structured way, but it is, as I said, to me, manifestation is natural. What I generally do is guide people to start releasing the thoughts of the things that are in the way, or the ways they're limiting themselves, and making it a tense situation instead of a relaxed and a willing situation. I help them shift their focus so it starts moving more into that openness. What's next? What's next? What can I do? Like when there's energy, there's an impulse to act. They know to do that. And other times there's a willingness to kind of just relax and rest and daydream instead, and allow things to come to be in that way. I would say that my own success in life and business has come from me using all of the things, so to speak, because I act on that inspiration and that energy of what is available. So there have been times when I've jumped into action, to whether it's to create the business or get new different kinds of clients or add a new service, because I was enthusiastic about it, right? Like I enjoyed it. And then there's other times where, for whatever reason, things weren't working through action. So it was time for a shift, and I would move more into letting go and surrendering, and moving more into the trust of life. And that's when I've had major abundance come in ways that I could not have foreseen or expected or asked for, right? So not attached, but allowing that higher vision to really have you move through life so that you respond in the moment. You're alive, you're active, you're engaged. You intuitively can sense, okay, this is the time to act, this is the time to sit back, that the flow just begins to happen. So I hope that's been helpful, and that now you're okay, maybe you'll get off the video and right now and go, okay, what would be fun? What would be fun to manifest that I have no attachment to right now, right? Especially if you have been kind of working at it, this is a time that you can maybe go more into the art of play, and see what you get to create. If you'd like to work with me, you can tap the link below and sign up for a session, because sometimes what I find is that having time to work with somebody where they get to hear you and catch kind of the key things that are coming out of you, where some of your instinct will be speaking and they can reflect that back, that can really clear out a lot of energy that's in our way of creating and manifesting. So I would love to connect with you if that's what you're ready for. So I'll talk to you next time.